Hello everyone, today we have mild weather. But imagine, 3 in the morning, in pouring rain, a trainee is on the ground soaked, starting to get hypothermia. Others still can't get their fire started, and the last ones are freezing as they try to set up their shelter. At that exact moment, as a survival instructor, what do I have in my bag? Today I'm going to show you everything in my bag, the one I really use in the field to supervise the courses. No theory, just practical stuff. In 10 minutes, you'll know exactly what I take when I'm in charge of a course in the forest. So this bag is prepared for 48 or 72 hours. Obviously, nothing is set in stone. Each mission has its own equipment, and each course has its own bag, depending on the weather, the number of trainees, their levels, and the objectives. So, even if the contents can change, there are principles I apply every time. First, a small clarification. In extreme situations, I always carry my first-line gear on me. My first-line gear includes, for example, a personal first aid kit, a knife, a compass that I will carry on my belt in a pouch. But since here I'm acting as an instructor and we're not in a high-risk area, I can lighten my first-line gear to be a bit more mobile during stops. So let's start with the outer pockets of the bag, where everything needs to be instantly accessible. We'll start with this left outer pocket, where I keep all my small technical gear, let's say a set of little kits in waterproof pouches. We'll look at them one by one. We'll start with the sewing kit. It's the one that few people have, but it regularly saves a group by repairing backpack straps or shoes. Just one person without shoes in good condition is a disaster for everyone. So, no matter how fast the best performers are, the group moves at the pace of its weakest link. Help him, that's really the key to the group's efficiency. In this kit, you'll find a Mema braid with a strength of 35 kilos. It's made for big game fishing. With this, you can stitch up anything. It's extremely strong. An awl. An awl is important, whether it's this model or another, especially when you have shoes to stitch. Without an awl, you will systematically break your needles. And finally, the sewing box. You'll find needles of different sizes in there, with some fairly large needles and some finer ones. And finally, a much finer thread for delicate sewing. Here, adhesive tape. I could have also put it in the repair kit. So, let's move on to the fire kit now. When it comes to starting a fire, I rely a bit on the trainees' equipment. They need to master their own gear. So let's say I only step in as backup. If we must deal with hypothermia urgently, I always carry a quick light fire starter like this one, which will allow me to start a fire in any condition, wind, storm, rain. So it's rated for 650 degrees. It burns for about 2 minutes. It's quite light and not bulky. So, for the rest of this fire kit, we're going to have a good lighter with a rubber band here. That way, you can turn it off if needed. Next, we'll have some magnesium, so a very good fire starter. A second fire starter here, this is fat wood. It's low coat, so low coat is the best fat wood in the world. It's found in Latin America. And then a good fire steel. Now for the repair kit. Some mountain bike inner tube to make rubber bands. Always useful. A bit of super glue. That can be useful too, just a few grams. So a set of zip ties. Very useful. Quick shelter setup and so on. Always useful. 550 paracord. It needs no introduction. And finally, repair adhesive tape, like tenacious tape. This repair adhesive tape is a great product. Its adhesive is almost aggressively strong. It's good for repairing tarps, ponchos, rain gear, even bags like this. Once applied, it's completely waterproof. It doesn't mind going through the washing machine, twisting, or bad weather. So I also have my toiletry bag here. We'll find the soap on paracord, a real classic. Razor. Toothbrush, top of the line. Toothpaste in a small box, which will prevent crushing and carrying around a big tube of toothpaste. A handy little mirror with its Velcro right here. Shaving, possible signaling, and checking for ticks anywhere. Finally, a small bottle. I decant mosquito repellent into it and dilute it with 50% water, so it makes it much easier to spread. It's just as effective, and above all, much less bulky. Now the right outer side pocket mess kit and the saw. So we have a half-liter filter bottle. We'll have a spoon and a fork. A Lexan cup. A canteen cup. A Ziploc bag. And finally, the saw. When it's really hot, I put the water bottle up front, left cargo pocket. Note that you need to pad all this equipment well to avoid clanking noises. Here, it was done with the latex cup and the Ziploc bag. So the value of quieting your gear in a survival situation. First, stealthy approach. For hunting from a blind or stalking, the slightest click from a plastic buckle can scare an animal away at 50 meters. In the same way, moving silently will help you take the lead in any encounter with another person, so give yourself the tools to do it. Secondly, preserving your hearing. Noisy equipment saturates your own auditory field. If your bag makes noise with every step, you won't hear a branch breaking or a danger approaching. Thirdly, finally reducing mental fatigue, the repetitive noise of one object hitting another, that familiar ticking sound of a poorly fastened canteen. It's a source of stress and cognitive fatigue over long distances, especially when it comes from your companion. So that's also very true in trekking. It's better to develop good habits. So the top pocket. Now the top flap pocket. We'll find it. Hot. So the MSR filter pump. Here, it's the Guardian 0.02 microns. It allows me to make water drinkable for the whole group. Very good product. Gloves. So, reinforced Kevlar gloves here. These are originally tactical gloves, extremely effective in the forest. And a ground sheet. A ground sheet that will also serve as a poncho. We'll see how. As well as a spare headlamp, an emergency lamp that I have here. Filtration at 0.02 microns, bacteria, protozoa, viruses, 2.5 liters per minute, self-cleaning. On this ground mat, you can see that I have a little piece of rubber here from an inner tube hung on the string. A great classic that's rarely taught, using a tarp, any kind of sheet or a plastic bag, or a ground mat like here, as a poncho, quickly and efficiently. Be sure to cover well around the neck. It's most important. You take the small elastic band, wrap it around twice. There you go. That creates a drip channel. And you have a makeshift poncho that works with any square tarp. Here I'm only taking this because there's little risk of rain this week. If there was really a lot of rain, I would take some proper extra clothing. So on top of the bag now, I have the PN2A. The PN2A is a signaling panel. So this is standardized gear, which will be used for signaling. But in certain circumstances, it can also be used for marking. Then, in the front pocket, we'll find the technical equipment, the reference sheets I have for the training sessions, a laminated map of the region. I also put my phone inside, and a few cereal bars. Here I have a carabiner. It's also used for certain exercises, and a little bit of paracord as well. So regarding the compass, the map protractor, the pencils, and the notebook, I keep them directly on me in a pouch on my belt as first-line gear. Attached to the bag, here I'll have my BKA-9, a large knife, which is one of the most essential tools in the forest, especially in a group. We'll be doing batoning, feathering, and so on. So of course I have a smaller knife, which I'll keep on my belt as first-line gear. By the way, while I'm thinking about it, if you want me to make a more specialized jungle or winter version of the pack, let me know in the comments. So obviously, it must be securely attached since it's nearly on your back. So there you go. Type of knife. Very interesting. For the forest. Here. A stone. DSC-4, very well known. So, diamond on one side and ceramic on the other. Very good sharpening stone.
Très bonne pierre à affûter.
So, lower compartment now, bottom of the bag compartment. Here we go. A first aid kit, clearly marked here and clearly marked here. A small mat to sit on and stay dry, to possibly stoke the fire or even to keep some kindling dry. Flip-flops for camp, extremely lightweight. A good cordage kit. And a tarp, 3 meters by 3. So this cordage kit is very complete here because it will allow me to handle many different setups, whether in an emergency or during training. On the other hand, in a self-reliant situation without the teaching side, let's say, I will often have less cordage in this kit, which will then be much more specialized. So this is also where I put my first aid kit, clearly identified with a patch. Now, no tourniquet here. We're not in a combat zone, you know. A good belt, if it's second nature to you and you know how to use it, would do the job just fine if that situation ever really came up. On the other hand, given our activities, a good pressure dressing is essential. So I won't go into detail about it here. So I have a pouch here on the pack's hip belt. This is where I put my main headlamp. Also, I'm used to checking if it turns on accidentally. I'll see it through the fabric. It's not uncommon for that to happen. Yeah. Now the main tunnel-style compartment. So we put things, the stuff, in reverse chronological order. Of course, everything I'll need quickly is on top. Here, empty plastic bottle. Take some water if necessary, if needed. If, on my route, I go through an area without a water source, or if I don't have time to waste, I can take 2 or 3 like this. So here, we have the insulating layer at 400 grams. So this insulating layer is similar to a fleece, but it's more effective than fleece. Next, microfiber towels, spare t-shirts, socks. Here, the strainer. With the cooking kit, we'll take a look at that. We have the mosquito net hammock. Here then is the 4-liter pot and its lid. So, with the strainer, It will allow us to clean the plants and cook them for the whole group. The small latex cup will be used as a ladle when we need to boil water for the whole group. That will prevent the pot water from getting dirty and will help better control everyone's consumption. Now it's the no-rub underwear, the long johns, that I wear both in summer and winter. And now the ration pack. The ration pack is meant to last 24 hours. But by adding wild plants and wild food, you can easily last 72 hours with good food discipline. Finally, I have the Army's lightweight sleeping bag for summer. So here, it's just the inner lining, light and durable. So you should know that this set, the two-piece set, the top and the bottom, plus the sleeping bag is very versatile. It allows me to handle all nighttime temperature setups during the summer. During the day, the full two-piece set can help me out, or even help out a trainee, in case of emergency like soaked or torn clothes. Now you know the full contents of this instructor's bag. So this is the Highlander 466. It has a capacity of 66 liters. I regularly load it with 13 to 15 kilos, depending on the setup. It's very well suited for 48 to 72 hour outings, whether it's for guiding, trekking, or any kind of activity. So today, before I leave you, I have something really special to share with you. All the field experience we've shared together over the past few years, whether through the channel or even during the training courses, ended up inspiring a novel. A novel in which I am one of the main characters. It's called L'Œil d'Argent, written by Philadelphie Pépin. So, I was her technical advisor on all the survival aspects to make sure everything was accurate and realistic. And honestly, she did much more than that. She took part of my life experience and turned it into an absolutely captivating and novelistic story. She managed to accurately convey the psychology of survival situations, the doubts, the fears, and also the victories. If you like good novels, the book is now available, so I'll put the direct link in the description. Just a quick important note, I have no financial interest in this, I don't get a single cent, so this is a completely free shout out to support the work of a novelist who truly deserves it. May her work live on. Thank you for your loyalty. Subscribe to support the channel. See you soon, either in the field or in the next video.